Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anne Marie Paracchio, and I'm the Managing Director of Marketing and Energy Efficiency for New Jersey Natural Gas. I have the honor of serving as the Chair of the Board of Trustees for Sustainable Jersey. And on behalf of the entire Sustainable Jersey Board, I would like to welcome all of you today to today's 2021 Virtual School Grants Announcement event. To the teachers, school administrators, students, and parents attending, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day today to attend this event. We know that COVID-19 has placed significant responsibilities and challenges on your schools, and we're happy to share the good news of your grant awards with you. To the PSEG Foundation, thank you for your continued support of Sustainable Jersey and the grants program. This support has been instrumental to the success of the program and fuels the passions of teachers and Green Team volunteers throughout the state to make a difference in their communities. Unfortunately, we're not able to meet in person this year, but I encourage you to use the chat feature to interact with other participants and ask questions. We will also have time at the end of the event for questions, and I hope through these conversations, we'll continue through social media and future events. You should be proud of your projects, and I hope you share your progress through various media outlets and with Sustainable Jersey. Again, on behalf of the entire board, I can tell you we're always inspired by the actions that you take. And I would now like to introduce Maria Spina, Program Manager for PSEG Foundation, who will say a few words.
Good afternoon. I'm Maria Spina, Manager of PSEG Foundation, and it's my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of PSEG and the PSEG Foundation. As New Jersey's oldest and largest energy provider, PSEG is committed to helping build sustainable and thriving communities by empowering investing in the people, environment, and infrastructure of the communities we serve. The PSEG Foundation is proud to support this mission with grants and to date has contributed $2.5 million in funding to the Sustainable Jersey Grants Program. Supporting Sustainable Jersey's municipalities and schools as they work at the local level on sustainability programs puts resources where they're needed. This year, the PSEG Foundation is providing $200,000 in grant funding to New Jersey's municipalities and an additional $100,000 for schools. In recent years, school grant recipients have invested this funding programs that advance sustainable ideals and practices across the state, each reflecting the individual needs of their communities. We have been inspired by these projects, just as we have been inspired by this year's grant applications and the select recipients who will be revealed today. At the PSEG Foundation, we believe that when one of us is impacted in the community, we all feel the impact. For that reason, we work diligently to ensure that we're all able to join together to act and build a framework of equity, compassion, and respect that will truly benefit us all. And we're confident that the funded projects provided by Sustainable Jersey will act as models of innovation for communities throughout the state and contribute to the long-term goal for a more sustainable New Jersey. Once again, on behalf of PSEG and the PSEG Foundation, we extend our warmest welcome and congratulate all of this year's grant recipients. Thank you.
Hi, Caitlin, or anyone, if you can hear me, could you start my video? It's blocked. Oh, great. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Randy Solomon. I am the Executive Director of Sustainable Jersey, and I'm so happy to be here virtually. So happy that you're all here. And just wanted to say how grateful that we are that despite the global pandemic and everything else, that you are still here in your schools, in your communities, plugging away trying to do projects that make the world better. And for our part, in addition to the certification program and thinking of new guidance and new best practices, we have been spending more and more of our time and our efforts trying to put resources directly into schools and into communities to help you achieve your local goals, which again, collectively help us achieve all of our goals. And so we've been doing more technical assistance and more grants, and we will continue on that trajectory of trying to make a big part of our efforts towards you about providing things that you need. The PSEG Foundation has been a key partner in that. The success of the Sustainable Jersey program overall, in no small part, can be linked to PSEG's commitment to us and to this grant program. Since 2012, the foundation has provided $2.5 million in funding to municipalities and schools participating in the Sustainable Jersey program, and $885,000 to support our core operations, which include training and outreach and running the actual certification program itself. The foundation's also generously provided another $300,000, as you heard, this year for a 2022 grant cycle that was launched earlier this month. So it's a tremendous commitment to us and to you from PSEG and to the future of our state, and I'm extremely grateful. Overall, our grants program has now awarded over $6.6 million in grants to schools and municipalities to advance sustainability initiatives. And with 81% of New Jersey municipalities and 64% of New Jersey public school districts participating in Sustainable Jersey, this funding is crucial to supporting your local initiatives across the state. I know the projects that you're going to be embarking on will help build community in your schools, advance your local goals, and support continued progress in the Sustainable Jersey for Schools program. The global pandemic reminded us that making preparations today to ensure our future well-being is time that is very well spent. So much of what we do at Sustainable Jersey is working today to invest in the future by taking steps to build our strength and avoid future disasters. Your grant projects will help New Jersey continue to prepare for the future, whatever may come, and to make whatever may come better. In addition to the grants, our staff works very hard to provide all kinds of assistance to participating schools, including training, technical assistance, guidance documents, and lots of networking opportunities and peer learning opportunities. If you'd like to learn more about any of these, you can visit our website, or you can email info@sustainablejersey.com, and we'll be happy to connect you with the correct people. Finally, thank you to everyone, again, who's serving on their school green team and making a personal commitment to improving the quality of life in New Jersey, in your schools, in your communities, and around the world. We know the last year has presented many challenges, and we continue to be inspired by your dedication and commitment to the program and to sustainability. Please don't ever quit. Keep up the good work. And with that, we'd now like to announce the $10,000 grant recipients and projects.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Caitlin Volmer. I'm the Grants Program Coordinator at Sustainable Jersey. Congratulations again to all the schools and also Egg Harbor Township School District, our one district that received a grant this time around, for putting those proposals in and for all the hard work and dedication that you commit to your schools to advance their sustainability initiatives. Before we get into some Q&A, I have a few people here who are pros at the grants program. I'd like to introduce them, and they are going to give you some great advice on how to best use your grant and also how to better apply in the grants program. So without further ado, I would like to introduce first from Howell Township Public School District, the principal of Ramtown Elementary School, AJ Bohr. He's here with us today, and he's going to be talking about Howell Township Public Schools, who are a superstar, not only when it comes to our grants program, but also our certification program. With these 3 grants that they're getting in this cycle between Memorial Elementary School, Ramtown, and also Edith M. Griebling Elementary School, they have received 19 grants from Sustainable Jersey in total. That's $78,000 amongst all of their schools, with all of 12 of their schools receiving at least 1 grant, which is amazing. I'd also like to introduce from Long Branch Public School District, Kelly Stone. She's a teacher and the Green Team leader over at George L. Canterbone Elementary School. Another really amazing school district, both in the grants program and the certification program. Long Branch Public School, the district has received 12 grants over the course of the Sustainable Jersey for Schools program, totaling $50,000, with 8 of their 9 schools receiving at least 1 grant. So that's pretty amazing. And this time around, I believe Morris Avenue received a grant. So as you can see, they apply all the time. They do amazing. And they have a lot of really great advice that I think can help out you as new grantees and also you as potential future applicants. So, okay. Thanks so much for joining us, both of you. To get started, I think it'd be great. I know I gave you a bit of an introduction, but if you want to talk a little bit more about the sustainability initiatives at each of your schools, I think that'd be great. So AJ, if you'd like to go first.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me and representing Howell Township Public Schools. I'm biased. I think it's the greatest district in all the land, as I'm sure you all do. But to consider ourselves pros, I think that's a vast overstatement. I think one of the things when we first started this, in all honesty, is that it was a very heavy lift. And the one thing that I would say is when constructing green teams, truly look at it as a team approach. I mean, I'm unfortunately the face here, but my green team, my support of my parent teacher organization, our senior administration, the commitment by our Board of Education and everything really makes the lift a lot easier, because when we first start looking at indicators and you're going for aspects of the Future Ready or the Digital Star programs, there's a lot of points, there's a lot of indicators, there's a lot of things that need done. And I think the greatest thing is to try and minimize and break it down piece by piece, because it can be very overwhelming at first. Also, I would say when you're constructing the teams, please make sure that you have people committed to what you want to accomplish. Because I think if it's another thing, you ask any teacher, any educator across the state, the last couple of years have been daunting to reach children and do things that we want to do. So I think a big piece of that is get as many people invested as you can. And perhaps maybe the simplest thing is ask the students of your schools what you want to accomplish. We at Ramtown, we're a 3 to 5 school. And we actually, for this last grant that we recorded and received, we went to the children, our technology teacher and our media specialist and our music teacher who oversee different components of the green team, really sat out and they budgeted items. They had students really surf and the internet relative to what is it they wanted. They wanted an outdoor classroom. They were tired of being inside. We have in our one courtyard, we have a garden going. There's other great aspects too. We have several, I would say over the last couple of years, we have Eagle Scouts. So there are former students that want to come back and donate their efforts back to the schools. There's a lot of hardworking, committed parents that want to help out and give back to their children's schools. So the resources are there. You just kind of have to ask and find out what is it we want to accomplish, and really just begin with the end in mind. But it really starts, on both levels. It starts with the support of your Board of Education and your senior administration, and it really cultivates from the grassroots of the students in which you're serving. So all parties need to be invested, and just don't be afraid to make mistakes too. Put effort into it, and the worst thing that somebody's going to say is, oh, no, or try and revise this, but stay positive, because the impact and the fruits of the labor are fantastic.
Great. Thanks so much, AJ. You touched on a lot of really great things that I also would like to just elaborate a little bit on. What makes Howell and also Long Branch so successful is that they do really take a whole district approach, not only to their certification, but to applying for grants as well, which is really, the best method, because you do need that administrative backing and support, and that can really help organize and save time and effort, and really a great strategy in terms of applying for grants that we can hopefully learn a little bit more about soon. But I also want to talk about the fact that AJ's totally right. You're always better off trying to go for a grant. We try really hard to provide a lot of technical assistance in terms of writing the grant application. We offer debrief calls for any non-recipients, so that if you don't get the grant the first time around, we can give you a little bit of insight of why that may be. Sometimes some years are more competitive than others, and it might come down to some nitty-gritty details, but oftentimes there are some fundamental things that we can help you improve your grant application with, or also any future grant applications. And I have to say that most applicants who didn't receive a grant the first time go for a grant the second time and do end up getting it. So we do like to offer that kind of technical support. So thanks again, AJ. Kelly, would you like to do any highlights or introduce yourself a little bit more before we get into some more of the deeper questions?
Sure, and I just wanted to say that we have our superintendent with us here too, Mr. Rodriguez is on the call as well. So if you wanted to jump in at any time, feel free. But I agree with everything that AJ mentioned before. And one thing I want to add to it is you have to find the people that are passionate about what you're doing, because without that passion, you're not going to drive much going forward. And most often the people that are passionate are the students in your classroom, and they drive the projects and the activities and all the events that go on. They're the ones that are fighting to get things done, and they actually bring the teachers in with them. So that's why it's grown so much. That's why our green team is so large, both in our school and our district, because the kids are really guiding what they're passionate about and asking for these projects and fun things to do. And they get the teachers and the staff on board, and it really springboards from there. Another thing is to really take advantage of everything that Sustainable Jersey has to offer. There's so many webinars that are on their site that you can access, past webinars, join the ones that are current. They're really convenient. A lot of them are offered after 3 o'clock, so you can join in and just listen. There's so much advice to get from schools that have already done these things, and it's just waiting for you to watch and reach out. And any of the schools that have gotten awards or grants before are always willing to help, so don't be afraid to reach out and get help from other people. Like Caitlin was saying, take a chance on the debriefing call if you're not fortunate enough to get the grant the first time. We did in our first granting opportunity, and when we went back and reapplied, we had all the answers and we were able to push forward and get the grant. So like I said, Sustainable Jersey is a wealth of information and knowledge, and reach out.
Great. Thanks so much, Kelly. Yes. And in fact, I'm so glad you mentioned reaching out to previous recipients, because we do have that information on our website. And I know our website can be a little overwhelming. There's a lot of really great information. But if you ever have a question, or if you're looking for something and you're having a hard time finding it, please feel free to reach out. You can easily reach out to our schools program coordinator, which is Veronique Lambert, at schools@sustainablejersey.com, or our info line, which is just our general info line that can help you out as well. But I just want to show you a few places on our website that I think, and I think Kelly would agree, might be useful for folks who are looking to maximize their chances at grants. So obviously we have the grants tab. And under the grants tab, we not only have all of the current cycles of funding, and I will say that anyone who's received a $2,000 grant that doesn't have an open larger grant can apply for another grant for this year in one of these cycles if they do wish, and vice versa for the folks who got the $2,000 grants. But we also have a lot of really other great resources here and other programs and technical assistance that we like to make available for anyone who's working in the State of New Jersey for Schools program. But if you are thinking about applying for grants, we have some information that can get you started even if we don't have a current grant cycle open. You can look to see what you need to do to be eligible. You can look to see how funding can be used. We have application tips, onward and onward. You can even get started on your required documentation, such as a grant authorization or the budget template. Also, what's really great is that we do have all of our previous recipients listed on our website under this previous recipients and projects tab. All these link to the past press releases, and we have the most recent video, since we've been doing a lot of virtual grant announcement events, uploaded as well. So you can take a look to see what's gotten funded in the past, to see if you can find a way to put innovative spin on some of those projects, or just to see if you can be inspired by any of those projects as well. Great. So that said, I was curious, and I'm going to direct this question towards Kelly, because I know that George Alcantarone is working on a really amazing project right now with a consultant for their living wall. And I was just curious if you had any advice that you would give any school teachers or administrators and how to work with a consultant, because I know that can kind of be intimidating sometimes.
So we have the project of a living wall going on right now. We're turning our foyer into a live living wall full of plants, and the kids are in the process of designing it, making art part of sustainability. So they're planning right now with project sustainability. And we kind of found project sustainability through chance. We had been reaching out and doing a lot of research with our kids about living walls, and we found some beautiful ones that were created by Michael McCullough, and we reached out to him and Project Sustainability. And the great thing about it is some of these companies that you reach out to are willing to give you more money to use their product and complete this. So in addition to the great $10,000 grant we got from the NJEA and Sustainable Jersey, he gave us about 60% of the funding for a little over a $20,000 living wall, and he's working with our students directly to do it. So the best advice I can give you is don't be afraid to reach out to these people that are experts in their field, because oftentimes they're willing to help you and want to get involved with your students and do the education piece with you. So it's really great. Keep researching, send some emails, and hopefully somebody will get back to you. We tried a lot of different places first, and when we found Project Sustainability, we kind of met somebody that were like-minded with us, and we felt like we could go forward with them and do something great in our school.
Great. Yes, I always encourage folks to definitely reach out to your community members. A lot of times community wants to help fund these kinds of projects. They understand the importance, and you can get a lot of really great things. With that said, if you do happen to, run into some extra funding or get some of the materials that you planned on using your grant for donated, please know that we are flexible with our budget modifications. You can submit a revised budget if it happens to be a large change. So essentially we're looking at any kind of reallocation of $100 or more from one category to the next, or if you want to spend money on something that you didn't originally outline in your grant project. We are happy to do that. We definitely want you to, take anything you can get in terms of additional resources and low cost resources. So I know that at least with this grant cycle, the timeline has been a little wacky with everything going on. So I know some folks might need to make some changes to their budgets and maybe even their action plan timelines, and know that that's completely fine. And as long as it's not a huge change, you don't even need to get approval for it. It's only large scope changes and large budget changes. So thanks so much, Kelly. That was really, really insightful. I have a question for AJ now. So Ramtown Elementary School, as I mentioned before, is actually a recipient, three-time recipient of a Sustainable Jersey for Schools grant. This is your first $10,000 grant, and I was curious if you had any insight on how you went from going from one of those smaller green team grants to one of the larger ones.
I would say certainly celebrate every success, whether it's a 2,000, 1,000, whether it's just getting your people together. It sounds a bit outlandish, but Every journey begins with a single step. And when you're starting this, it seems like a lot. So make sure that if you're going to set out to accomplish something, make it purposeful. Like she said, have the right people involved and kind of take small baby steps and look at it as segments, involve children. They have the best ideas. Find when you're talking about consultants, for instance, we work with a local master gardener. They clearly know more about what they're doing than you do. And just the fact that you're asking them is humbling a lot of times, and they just want to cultivate what they're good at, and so learning together is a key piece. It's sort of like when parents serve on their parent-teacher organizations, you have a lot of people taking the heavy lift because everybody's afraid to commit to it because it might be too much and too overwhelming. So I think if you can kind of lessen the load and make sure that everybody's voice is heard. So I think that's key too, is that share the wealth. And again, I'm sitting here talking. This is not my success at all. My team is amazing. We find time in their schedule because you can't ask them to come in early and stay late because they're parents and they're devoted and taking care of little ones and loved ones too. So it's about impact during the school day. And just stay positive. Starting with, we received grants for refillable water stations. The children love it. We have those separated in different components of our hallways. We went into aspects of trying to reduce the use of straws and just bringing people's attention to the very different parameters of what this encompasses. Social emotional learning, we know the needs that are going on in the classrooms and the communities. We're trying to take care of one of another and trying to take care of our children. So find things that you're passionate about, and there obviously is going to be somewhere to put that into a grant or for assistance to better your school.
Great. Thanks so much, AJ. And yeah, that's a great point. Sometimes starting small is the best method. We do offer those green team support grants. So even if you don't have like a project that you're ready to pursue yet, you can use that to help strengthen your green team, get some funding for the kids to start, playing around with in terms of figuring out what they want to focus their sustainability efforts on. Maybe you need some promotional materials to help get more kids or teachers involved in the green team. Those $2,000 grants can really go a long way in building that momentum, just like it has with Ramtown. And now they're going to have a beautiful outdoor garden with their $10,000 grant that we're very excited to see. So congratulations again to you guys for moving up in the grants world. Now I have a question that I'm actually going to direct to both of you. So Kelly, I'll direct it to you first, but this is a big question I get a lot when it comes to grants, and me not being part of the school system. I'm not always sure how to answer it, but I'm gonna hopefully you guys have some insight on it. But the question is, in regards to the grant accounting and purchasing process, if you have any advice on how to set up the accounts, you don't have to worry about things at the end, because with the Sustainable Jersey grant, especially the large ones, we will need to see that accounting. And if you have any advice on vendors and how to get them set up to make sure they're able to accept your grant funds.
I have to say that's not my area of expertise. We have
That's fair.
a business office and a grant team in our district. We're lucky enough to have a grant office with people that help throughout there, and then our business office that helps set that up and direct that as well. So on my end, it's just making sure that you keep track of everything that you're doing, keep track of all the records you're making, make sure when you're doing your budget plan that you think of everything that you could possibly need, and make sure that it gets on that budget proposal for your grant, because it makes it easier when you're organized ahead of time to see where all the money's coming from, what part of the grant it's coming from, and what you're purchasing to support the grant.
I would just say, to kind of piggyback on that, it really, again, it starts with the support of your Board of Education, certainly the central message coming from your superintendent. And we meet regularly as leadership teams to talk about ideas and what grants are out there and what are some things that we can do. Each of our school communities is very different. We house very different populations in our schools. So I think it's very important that you openly talk about ideas and what might be good at one side of town versus the other side of town. And then ultimately things will go through the business administrative office. So you have to be clear on as far as how many quotes you may need, what is an approved vendor. You have to have people, again, like all of the indicators that we try and meet, anything that can be coordinated at a central office level. For instance, we have 12 schools in Howell Township, and there are things that go on behind the scenes through purchasing and different initiatives at a building level that may come out of the maintenance department and things like that. That is going on in every building across the land, whether it's solar panels or updates to various components of the schools. Those certain things can sometimes help qualify schools for different indicators. And when you're living the grind at the building level, you might not know of those things. So it's important to ask. It's important to kind of seek guidance in what is going on at a district level. But ultimately, the purchasing, your school administrators and your front office should openly be able to coordinate efforts through the business administrative office and the superintendent's office.
Great. So from what I'm hearing is make sure you have a very nice lengthy conversation with your business administrator following the receipt of the check. And I will say that the checks will be mailed out this week, so you should be in receipt of them by the end of this week. Included in your check will be a copy of the grant terms and conditions, and we'll be sending a copy of that to all the grant contacts as well. So yes, it's very important to have a good relationship with your business administrator and make sure that everything is set up the correct way before it becomes a problem towards the end. And you're like, what happened to all my receipts? So thanks so much for your insight on that. And I think my last questions, I'm very curious to know, a lot of times schools will get these grants, they'll complete their projects, they'll be really excited, but they have a hard time keeping that momentum and keeping the kids engaged in the green team. And I was wondering if, since I know both your school districts have really great, robust green teams, if there's any way that you incentivize your kids to stay and keep going, and where that passion comes from.
I think the projects and what we're doing makes them want to participate. When you have kids that are excited about it and the staff gets excited about it, it kind of continues the cycle and it just keeps going. There's waiting lists to join the after school clubs in our school. And I know that happens throughout the district. They want to be a part of it because of the fun things that are going on, and bringing grants to life with that really helps. Building the living wall. Everybody wants to be a part of the construction of it. They want to be a part of the plan. They want to be the person that votes on the winning design layout of the living wall. Our first grant was a small $2,000 grant, and it built us a soda bottle greenhouse in our courtyard. Everybody wants to go out there and plant. They want to get in the soil and start planting. So the more fun and student-driven these projects are, the more passionate they become and the longer they want to stay involved in it. And your older kids kind of share that message with the younger kids. And as they grow and change and move on to different schools, they bring that with them.
Great. Yeah, I've actually seen some applications written by students, and students are absolutely, allowed to do that and can come attend our announcement events as well. So if you have some really passionate students, you can definitely tap them to get them to help with the grant proposal.
We actually included letters written from them in ours. So they wrote about why they wanted the living wall. So it just
Oh yeah,
do it.
the selection committee loved that, I can say. Any kind of personal touch you can put in your grant proposal. I understand that, some proposals are written by teachers, but others may have like a grant writer on staff or sustainability coordinator that can help out. But including those details about your school population in regards to what the kids are interested in, and also any information on your current and previous sustainability initiatives, that all goes a really long way in helping you be more successful in getting your proposal funded. So, hey, did you have anything you want to add to what Kelly said?
Not really. I just want to thank everybody for the recognition. It's great actually hearing other award winners talk about it and kind of going through some of the same struggles and sharing some of the same successes. But just really want to advocate everybody to get involved, change the world, one little grant at a time, couple students at a time. Just do the right work. Doing the right work on a smaller scale leads to doing the right work on a larger scale. And ultimately things start transforming schools really from the inside out. And you help make all of this possible. So I really can't thank you, your efforts, and the connections and partnerships that you've brought to the school. So thank you.
Thanks so much, AJ. Kelly, do you have any other last words you'd like to say?
Just go for it. I mean, you have every opportunity available. Just reach out and apply for a grant or start a project, whether it's an innovative project or it's an education for sustainability action. Just try and get started. Once you get one foot in the door, it gets easier as you go on.
Great. Such great advice. Thank you both so much for joining us and for sharing your wealth of knowledge. I know you might not consider yourself pros, but $78,000 and $50,000 is a lot. So congratulations and thank you so much for all the hard
Hey,
work
Kelly,
and
thank you for showing
dedication.
up. So it just wasn't me. I appreciate that.
No problem. And thanks to you too.
Yeah, 2 superstar districts. Like I said, definitely check them out. Check out their previous grant projects. You can also look at both of these schools' certification profiles and reports. They are both certified, so you can learn a lot about what they're doing and maybe even be inspired on doing something in your school. So I'm going to move on now to some Q&A. I know I saw some folks with hands raised. Before I go ahead and call on everyone, I just wanted to show one last thing on our website. All right. So let's see, just make sure. Oh, actually, I think I shared the wrong screen. Excellent. Great. So as I just mentioned, we do have a lot of really great information. One of the big purposes of the Sustainable Jersey for Schools program is connecting folks at the local level, everyone helping each other out and giving guidance and advice. And a way we do that is by making everyone who gets certified, their reports available on the website. So you're not only able to pull up the list view and look for any school that you might be interested in. Maybe you want to look at schools that are in your county that you might be neighbors with and might be able to go even visit. Or maybe you want to look by a certified action that you're interested in completing in your school, but not exactly sure how to go about it. There's a lot of really great ways to use this tool to find out more information about what other schools are doing. Once you find a school you're interested in, you can just click this view report button. And you'll be able to see all of the really great things that this school has done in order to get certified in the program. And the grants program really is meant to help schools get certified. The funding can be used for any of our actions. We have over 100 at this point, which are available here on our website. So I really encourage you all, once you get to the point where you're finishing up your projects, if you're not already working on certification, to definitely consider it. You can not only make a difference in regard to sustainability in your school, but you can save a lot of money a lot of the times with these actions and also help support a culture of overall well-being and sustainability within your school. So last thing I wanted to show everyone, just because I think I may have forgot to share my screen before, just our grants tab one last time. We have a lot of really great information here in the grants tab. When it does come time for you all to complete your reporting requirements, which is a standard part of every Sustainable Jersey grant, you'll be able to find the links for your reporting forms here on the grants page. We'll also be emailing those links out as we get closer to the deadline. There's also information here on some other post-award requirements and just basically in terms of if you have a ribbon cutting ceremony, how you can contact us to let us know so we can contact the funders. And also, as I mentioned before, we do accept project modifications, that we do have a system of getting those approved. And you can find more information in the templates for that here on our page as well. Of course, if you have any questions, I know it's all a lot of information. Please feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, I'm Caitlin Bulmer. I answer to the grants at Sustainable Jersey email address, and I'm happy to help you with any grant questions you may have. Okay, let's see if any other questions. Oh, I thought I saw a hand, but maybe we already answered it. No, I think everyone's good. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. If you want to type it in the chat box, we can definitely answer your questions. We still have some time, or if anyone would like to share any news on their grant projects or would like to discuss their grant projects, please feel free. And if Kelly and AJ are willing, they can also probably answer some questions you may have too, coming from the perspective of an actual grantee. Oh, great. You guys must all be ready to go then. Like I said, the grant checks will be in receipt of your business administrator or whatever fiscal contact you put down in your application by the end of the week. Really excited for you all to get started on your projects. You have 12 months if you have a $2,000 grant and 18 months if you have a $10,000 grant. So plenty of time to get shovel ready. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. We can't thank you all enough for the effort, especially after this very long and crazy past couple of years we've been having. The fact that you're staying so dedicated to pursuing sustainability, it really, really is an inspiration. I can't say that enough. So with that said, I hope everyone has a really great rest of their day, and good luck with getting your grant application, or not grant application, sorry, your grant projects done. And if you want to submit another grant application, if you have an empty grant slot, please feel free to be like our friends from Hal and Long Branch and go for some, big money in the next cycle.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Right.